Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to another edition of 5 Questions Fridays. I'm Othohampton.
And I'm Macy Fordham. And today...
Let me guess. You got some questions for me, right?
Just 5.
All right, go ahead and run them.
All right. So, how long have you been a realtor?
I have been a realtor for exactly 1 year and 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, during this last year and a month, how have you learned to create your client base?
Mostly I do a lot of, well, if you actually follow me on social media or whatever, I do a lot of web content, posting pictures. I have a newsletter that I post every Monday. It's called the Hampton Weekly. I rely on friends and family. That's really a strong source of trying to gain clients and whatnot. Along with that newsletter, I like to post real estate updates as far as what's going on in the market, how long the property's been on the market, things that have sold in the area in the past month or so. Most importantly, basically just being myself.
Right.
Not trying to project myself as an expert in an area that I'm not. Being able to relate with people, they see certain things in me, I guess, and they choose to follow me on whatever platform that they choose to follow me on.
Gotcha. So, in your opinion, what are the most important resources that buyers should be using?
First and foremost, I would say that the most important resource is an agent. A buyer going into a situation where they're making one of the biggest financial choices they ever made, trying to go in that alone can be very detrimental, given the fact that the seller will definitely have some type of representation as far as, from a legal standpoint. A buyer should always want that for themselves as well.
Right.
Secondly, a resource that they could use would be the internet. There's nothing wrong with being what I like to call an active buyer. That is a buyer that does their due diligence as to what it is that they're looking for in a home or different homes, different terms that they might hear in the beginning, during, and after the process. So there's really nothing wrong with being an informed buyer. Those are the main 2 resources that a buyer should use.
Okay. And I know earlier you briefly mentioned your social media.
Right.
How do you implement that social media to be successful in your career?
Thus far, I do a lot of posting on Facebook Marketplace, posting different listings, not just mine, other listings in the brokerage. As far as else, I would say I use videos, of course. This platform I'm using right now. Basically doing video walkthroughs of different properties. If I had a client that was maybe out of state or just not able to meet an appointment, I would do a video walkthrough for them and make sure I get that over to them. Also, virtual tours. During this past Corona outbreak, we were basically shut down. And as things eased back into opening, we still had buyers that weren't, feeling comfortable with getting out and seeing homes. So I would do a virtual tour for them. And next would be doing virtual open houses. That was another thing that was big. Going live on Facebook, putting more eyes on properties. Those are basically, ways to implement social media for realtor success and ultimately help towards my success.
It's a very interesting approach you have to take during all this.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is very A, B, C, D. Mm-hmm. You have to choose different measures to reach the goal that you're trying to obtain.
Right. What do you do in particular to make sure that your buyers' needs are met? To make sure they're satisfied, they're taken care of? What is it that you do?
If I'm going to be the one that ultimately services that client, first and foremost, I'm going to ask you, are you working with any other agents? If you're already working with someone or you're already under contract with someone as far as an agreement, then by law I can't work with you. But if you're not and you would like for me to represent you, that would be the first thing that I get out of the way. Next, I would sit down with you and ask you why you're buying. Getting a feel for your process, your thoughts, your reasons, basically your why. Everyone has a why. That's what they like to say. Why are you making this financial decision? Next, I want to know what your deal breakers are. Deal breakers, self-explanatory, but for me, deal breakers would be something that I need to stay away from to keep you from running to another realtor. Once I get those out of the way, I wouldn't say everything is smooth sailing, but that gives me a better idea of what it is that you're looking for and what not to show.
Right.
Lastly, let me see what would be the best example for this. What is your favorite part of the house? That's another thing that would help me make sure your needs are met. By you explaining what your favorite part of the house is, that would give me a better insight of your lifestyle, your likes, of course, your wants. Basically, it gives me a deeper input as to the type of person that you are.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Makes
So
sense.
that's basically what happened.
All right. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
And thank you for joining me for another episode of 5 Question Friday.
Anytime.
All right, so there you have it. Once again, I'm Otho Hampton. This is Macy Fordham, and thank you for viewing 5 Question Fridays. If you have any questions that you would like answered yourself, be sure to send them to me. My email address is othohampton.realtor@gmail.com, and you can also text it to me at 912-574-2429. See you soon.